The series begins with a high school girl named Jay standing in front of the school she just transferred to. As soon as Jay enters the school, she notices that all the students in it are rich. Jay is happy with the new school because it's very luxurious, and at that moment, she tells herself that this is a new beginning for her, and that's why she doesn't intend to cause any trouble at all. We learn here that Jay transferred from her old school because she is a troublesome student who causes problems. Jay walks through the school until she reaches the receptionist and asks for the location of Section E because that is the section she will be studying in. At that moment, Jay notices a female student looking at her with disgust as soon as she learns she will be a student in Section E. Jay is surprised but doesn't pay it any mind and goes to the place the receptionist described. There, she is surprised to find an old and very shabby building, unlike the rest of the school's buildings. But still, she doesn't care and tells herself that the exterior doesn't matter, but what matters is whether the inside is good or not. However, she is shocked when she enters the building and finds it to be an unclean and untidy place. But she continues on her way until she finds a group of male students standing and asks if this is Section E. But at that moment, one of them named Kiefer answers her and tells her she's in the wrong place. Jay tells him that the receptionist described this place to her, but Kiefer yells at her and tells her to leave immediately. Jay leaves, annoyed by the way he spoke to her, and thinks to herself that she wished she could shove the lollipop in his mouth down his throat. But she calms herself down and goes to another building that is clean and looks nice. There, she enters a classroom and sits at a desk. At that moment, Rocky, the class president, comes to her and introduces herself. Jay introduces herself too and tells her that she is a new student at the school. But when Rocky looks at Jay's papers, she tells her that she is not registered in this class, but is registered in another class in Section E and describes its location to her. Here, Jay realizes that Kiefer deceived her and goes back to Section E, annoyed. But there, she is surprised that the section has only one classroom and it's full of boys. Nevertheless, Jay doesn't care and introduces herself to the teacher and introduces herself to the students. At that moment, Kiefer stands up as the class president, as he is supposed to welcome her. But Kiefer mocks her and makes the boys laugh at her. But Jay doesn't stay quiet and mocks him back. From here, Jay starts to be harassed by the whole class, like no one allowing her to sit at any desk she approaches. When she finally sits at a desk, they throw paper balls at her and keep mocking and laughing at her. Although she yells at them to stop bothering her, it's to no avail until the class ends and Jay leaves them and goes to the school restaurant. There, she meets Rocky, who is sitting with a group of girls, and Rocky asks her about what happened to her in Section E. Jay hides what happened to her and tells her that everyone there welcomed her very nicely, but it appears the girls don't believe her because, of course, they know that all the students in Section E are troublemakers. At that moment, there is a student named Iris who tells them that Section E is a suitable place for Jay. It appears that Jay and Iris know each other, but Jay stays quiet and doesn't respond. She leaves the restaurant and goes back to Section E. There, she tries to find a clean place to sit and eat. But as soon as she finds a good spot and takes out her food, the students come and take the food from her. One of the students named Felix comes, introduces himself to Jay, and apologizes profusely for what his classmates did to her. He explains to her that she shouldn't take out any food in front of them again because all the students in this section are not allowed to enter the restaurant and buy food from it. Jay is surprised and takes out other food from her bag, which Felix snatches from her, telling her he warned her not to take out food in front of them, and leaves her. Afterwards, Jay is in the classroom and one of the female teachers enters and refuses to teach them because the classroom is not clean and is full of trash. She tells them that if she sees this mess in the next class, she won't enter their class for the rest of the year, and she leaves the school. Here, Jay gets enthusiastic and encourages her classmates to clean the classroom, but she is shocked when she finds them leaving and locking the door on her, so she has to clean the entire classroom by herself. She keeps yelling for them to help her, but none of them pay her any attention and they keep making fun of her from the classroom window. So, Jay is forced to clean the classroom by herself. Annoyed by what happened, Jay's first day at school ends and she returns home, where we learn that she lives with her aunt, her uncle's wife. Her aunt asks her about her first day at her new school. Jay hides everything that happened to her and tells her it was a very good day. Her aunt reminds her of the promise she made to herself, and Jay confirms, telling her she remembers and hasn't forgotten, and informs her that she will not cause any trouble with anyone at all. The next day at school, Jay is surprised when Kiefer gives her a paper with a list of the types of food that he and the rest of the boys in the class like, so she can go and buy it for them from the school restaurant. but Jay refuses and tells him she is not their servant. Kiefer replies, telling her he doesn't like her presence in the class, and if she wants to stay with them in the class, she has to listen to him. Jay objects and tells him she still won't do it, and also tells him that from the first time she saw him, she has wanted to hit him. Of course, Kiefer doesn't like this and is about to fight with her, but the teacher interrupts them and enters the classroom. During lunchtime, a student named Yuri comes, and at that moment, all the boys run to him because he has brought a lot of food with him. But Yuri gets annoyed when he sees Jay. Felix informs him that she is a new student with them. At that moment, Yuri looks at Jay with a gaze full of anger, leaves her, and walks away. Here, Jay is surprised by his behavior and asks Felix about him. He informs her that this student's name is Yuri and that he was on vacation and traveled to Japan to be with his parents and has just returned. He also informs her that Yuri and Kiefer are close friends. At this moment, Yuri goes to talk to Kiefer about Jay because Yuri doesn't like the presence of a girl with them in the section. Kiefer informs him that he tried to annoy her so she would get scared and leave the section, but she wasn't scared of him and faced him and stood up to him. Yuri suggests that they keep annoying her until she gets fed up and leaves the section. Kiefer agrees. The next day, Jay is going to have breakfast before going to school, and at that moment, she meets Angelo. Angelo is her older cousin, and he asks about how she's doing in school, and she reassures him. She asks him if he knows anything about Section E, given that he was a student at the same school a long time ago. He tells her that this section was made specifically for troublesome students, and that any student who is transferred to this section doesn't leave it until they graduate from school. He informs her that girls who are transferred to this section have a chance to transfer to another section if they behave well and don't cause any problems, in addition to having to get high grades in the subjects they study. Afterwards, Jay heads to school, and on her way, she finds a boy fighting with 4 other boys, and he beats them all up. But as soon as this boy sees Jay, he calls out to her and tells her he is her classmate in the same section and asks if they can go to school together. Jay agrees that they can go together. As they are on their way, she learns that his name is Sai and asks him about the reason the school administration banned them from entering the restaurant. C agrees to tell her, but on the condition that she buys him food at her expense. Jay agrees. C tells her that a while ago, a girl named Ella was with them in the section. He informs her that Ella and Kiefer loved each other very much until the time came and Ella transferred to another section because she has strong connections with the school administration. After that, Kiefer started to feel that Ella had changed towards him for no reason. One day, he saw her in the restaurant kissing another boy. At that moment, Kiefer got angry, fought with that boy, and completely destroyed the restaurant. Since then, the school administration has punished Kiefer and all the students in Section E and banned them from entering the restaurant permanently. Afterwards, Sai and Jay go to school and continue their day normally until the end of the last class, when Jay is surprised to find her clothes stuck to the desk. It appears that Kiefer and Yuri are the ones who played this prank on her. At that moment, all the students make fun of Jay, leave her, and walk away. But Jay calls out to C and Felix to help her, reminding them that she brings them food, and in return, they can't just leave her in this situation alone. C and Felix approach and pull her off the desk, but her clothes tear. C gives her his jacket to cover herself. At that moment, Jay is furious and goes looking for Kiefer everywhere until she finds him standing with Yuri and another group of boys. She approaches him, throws Sai's jacket in his face, insults him in front of his classmates, and tells him that from this moment on, she will not stay quiet about anything wrong he does to her. Jay leaves and walks away. Afterwards, she returns home with Sai, who had given her another jacket he had in his bag to cover her torn clothes. Jay thanks him for what he did, says goodbye, and enters the house. As C is returning home, he finds a group of boys in front of him, and it appears they are the friends of the boys he beat up earlier, and they have come to get revenge on him. At this time, Jay sits at the dining table to have dinner, and Iris is sitting with them at the same table. We learn here that Iris is Jay's younger cousin, but it appears he is annoyed by Jay's presence in their lives. At that moment, Angelo gets annoyed when he learns that Iris doesn't drive Jay to school in his car, and tells him that from the next day, he will drive her in his car, take care of her, and protect her from anyone who might harm her. The next day, Iris follows his brother's words and takes Jay with him to drive her to school. When Jay goes to her classroom, she finds Kiefer giving her the same paper with the list of food items and gives her money for it so she can get food for him and his classmates. Jay yells at him and tells him she is not obligated to listen to him and informs him that she will go get the food for her classmates, not for him. Indeed, Jay goes to the restaurant and gets all the food Kiefer asked for. When she returns to them with the food, they are very happy with what she did, and even Kiefer himself is pleased with her. At that moment, Felix calls Jay to eat with them, and she agrees, but Yuri doesn't like what's happening and leaves them. After eating, they are all in the classroom, and the teacher calls out their names and asks them questions to test their level. Of course, none of the boys answer the questions, but all the boys are shocked when the teacher says Jay's full name, because her family name is the same as Iris's family name. Kiefer asks her about her relationship with Iris, and Jay says that Iris is her cousin. Here, Jay is surprised by the reaction of the boys in her class, because they all look angry. She understands that there is a problem between them and Iris, but she doesn't know what it is. After class, Jay tries to talk to any of her male classmates, but they avoid her. Kiefer and Yuri gather all their classmates and sit around searching for information about Jay on the internet. At that moment, they find out the name of the school she was in and learn that she was an extremely troublesome girl, and that she also stabbed a male classmate with a pencil, in addition to causing serious injuries to a large number of boys at the school. At that time, one of their classmates enters and tells them he found information about Jay's family, informing them that Jay's father has been missing for a very long time and no one knows his whereabouts, and that her mother left her when she was a child, married someone other than her father, and lived with him. All this time, Jay lived with her grandmother, but when she transferred to their school, she came to live at her uncle's house. At that moment, Yuri and Kiefer guess that Iris intentionally wants Jay to be with them to report their news to him. When it's time to clean the classroom, all the boys leave Jay to clean the classroom by herself, as usual. Kiefer tries to annoy Jay by grabbing the trash cans and emptying them on the floor. Jay objects, gets angry, throws cardboard boxes on the floor, and refuses to clean the classroom unless he cleans it with her. Here, Yuri notices that the situation is escalating, and because he knows that Kiefer is quick to anger and might hit Jay, he is forced to intervene. He convinces Kiefer to clean the classroom with her to avoid a problem. At that moment, Kiefer calms down, listens to Yuri, and cleans the classroom with Jay. The next day, Jay is in the car with Iris on her way to school, but suddenly, she sees Sai in front of her, walking in the street. She asks Iris to stop the car and tells him she will go to school with her classmate. At that moment, Jay asks C about the reason for his absence from school. He informs her that he got into a fight with the friends of the boys he had beaten up before, but this time the fight was intense and he was badly injured. That's why he decided to rest at home for a while, until he gets better. Jay starts to tell him about what happened in the class, and tells him about the boys' reaction when they found out she is Iris's cousin. She asks him if he will avoid her like they do. C reassures her and tells her he won't do that, and they continue on their way to school. At the end of the day, C takes Jay and they go behind the building to attend the class president election. But at that moment, Jay is shocked to discover that there are no elections being held, and that what will happen is a combat match between the current class president, Kiefer, and another student named David. David has decided to compete against him for the position. The one who wins the match will be the class president. The match begins, and Kiefer and David engage in a fierce fight, hitting each other with great force and violence until, in the end, Kiefer defeats David. All the students celebrate him, carry him on their shoulders, and leave. At that moment, Jay refuses to leave the place and goes to David and helps him to get home. The next day, in the classroom, Jay gives food to C and David. Yuri and Kiefer are sitting and watching her, not liking what is happening, because it is clear that Jay is treating all the boys in the class well, and they will start to treat her the same way. This will mess up Kiefer and Yuri's plan because they don't want her with them in the class. At that moment, one of their classmates enters and informs them that the next class is physical education and asks them to get ready to go to the gym. At the same time, Iris is sitting with his classmate and learns from him that the Section E students are going to the gym. As they are talking, Ella enters and greets Iris, and it's clear that she and Iris are close. Iris decides they should go to the gym, using the excuse that he wants to check on his cousin Jay, in case any of the boys with her are bothering her, so he can stand up for her. But as soon as they get there, Iris gets overly close to Ella, and it appears he is doing this specifically to annoy and provoke Kiefer. And indeed, this happens, and Kiefer reaches the peak of his anger and decides to punish Iris through his cousin, Jay. He pretends to be training her on how to receive the ball, but he hits the ball with great force, and it hits her in the face. Jay falls to the ground, and her nose bleeds. At that moment, everyone present is shocked by what happened. At this moment, Kiefer feels the mistake he made and wants to go to her and apologize, but he holds back because Iris had already gone to Jay quickly to check on her. Later, we see Jay at home, sleeping in her bed after taking 2 days off from school due to the injury. Her aunt, her uncle's wife, enters with her breakfast. At that moment, Jay tells her that she wants to leave the school because she can't stand what is happening to her, especially since she can't confront the students who are bothering her because she promised her aunt that she wouldn't cause any trouble with anyone. Her aunt tells her that she can respond to the harassment she's facing, but without her reaction being exaggerated. Afterwards, Jay is going out to buy medicine for herself when she suddenly finds her male classmates appearing in front of her and trying to drag her to go with them against her will. But Jay breaks free from them and finds herself in the arms of Kiefer, who is standing behind her. Kiefer tells her that her classmates were pulling her to go to him. Afterwards, they sit together in the cafe, and there Jay asks Kiefer what he wants from her, but he doesn't answer her. He takes a medical adhesive bandage and sticks it on her injury. After he finishes, he orders her an ice cream. She asks him if he's trying to make her keep quiet about what he did to her. Kiefer tells her that he doesn't know how to apologize to anyone, but he knows that all girls love ice cream. But Jay rejects his approach, leaves him, and walks away. However, she comes back, takes the ice cream, and continues on her way. The next day, Jay is at school and goes to the bathroom. After her, a group of girls enters and they start talking about what happened in the gym. One of them, named Freya, speaks badly about Ella, saying she is not a good girl, and the proof of that is that she was friends with Kiefer and then left him for Iris. At that moment, Freya notices that their classmate Mika is quiet and not engaging with them. When they ask her why she's quiet, Mika tells her that she sees Ella as a good girl and not bad, as she says. Of course, Freya doesn't like this at all, but she continues her talk this time and speaks about Jay, saying she doesn't see a reason for the boys to be interested in her, despite her being ugly and not beautiful. Jay hears everything Freya said, but as soon as her name is mentioned, she gets angry, comes out of the bathroom, and stands in front of Freya without saying a word. Suddenly, she splashes water on her and runs to Section E, but Freya and the girls, with her, catch up to her there and grab her. At that moment, all the boys from Section E come out to see what is happening. In addition, Freya's male friends have arrived at the scene, and Ella and Iris arrive as well and stand watching. At that moment, Freya says that Jay dared to splash water on her and that she must be punished for what she did. But Iris intervenes and tells Freya that Jay is his cousin. Jay stands in front of Freya, very proud because Freya won't be able to do anything to her. But Jay is shocked when she finds Iris continuing his sentence, saying he will not defend Jay if she is indeed at fault. Here, Freya speaks arrogantly in front of Jay and says she will explain the student hierarchies in the school to her. She informs her that the school is divided into 5 tiers. The first tier is Tier A, of which Freya is one, along with Ella and the rest of the girls in front of her. She informs her that Iris is the leader of this tier. Freya says that Tier A students are the best students in the school, and that's why they are treated like kings and princesses by all students. As for Tier B, they are the students who are slightly below them and who provide some simple services to the Tier A students. The third tier is Tier C, and the students in this tier treat everyone around them nicely, which includes Rocky, who welcomed Jay when she entered her class by mistake. Freya continues her speech and talks about the Tier D students. She says that all the students in this tier are boys because they are the bullies who carry out the orders of the Tier A students, and their mission is to punish anyone who bothers any student from Tier A. When Freya talks about the last section, Section E, she tells Jay that she doesn't need to give her any information about it because she knows the section well, being one of them. But she reminds her that Section E students are the lowest students in the school, and no one cares about them at all. After Freya finishes speaking, she tells Jay that she will forgive her and won't let anyone from Section T punish her, but on the condition that she apologizes to her and kisses her shoe. Of course, Jay refuses to do that and says in front of all the students that she was in the bathroom and heard Freya insulting her, and that Freya also insulted Ella and said bad things about her. Here, Freya gets flustered because she knows that Iris will punish her if he finds out she said anything bad about Ella. Freya takes advantage of the fact that Jay was inside the bathroom and didn't see her while she was talking, and says in front of everyone that Mika is the one who insulted Ella. At that moment, the girls with Freya confirm her words. Mika tries to defend herself and tell Iris that she didn't do it, but Iris ignores her and orders the boys from Section D to punish her. Those boys grab her to beat her up in front of everyone. Here, a boy from Section E named Alex makes a move, attacks those boys, beats them, and manages to push them away from Mika, holding her to protect her. We learn here that Alex is Mika's ex-boyfriend. At that moment, Iris and Kiefer stand opposite each other. Iris is insistent that Mika must be punished, but Kiefer tells him that this will not happen. Iris attacks Kiefer and hits him, and at that moment, a very intense fight breaks out among everyone present. Afterwards, Yuri is sitting with Kiefer, and Yuri tells Kiefer that all their plans to get Jay away from the class have failed, and that everything has worked out in Jay's favor, and her classmates have sympathized with her and accepted her presence among them. Kiefer replies, telling him he has a plan to kill two birds with one stone. He explains that he will make Jay fall in love with him and get attached to him, and then he will break up with her and break her heart. By doing this, he will have gotten rid of Jay, and at the same time, he will annoy Iris over what happened to his cousin. Yuri likes this plan and agrees to it. Afterwards, we see Sai running to Kiefer and telling him that Jay is fighting with boys from Section D in the gym. Kiefer runs there quickly. At that moment, Jay is on the ground, and a boy is about to hit her on the head. Suddenly, Kiefer appears, grabs the boy, and hits him. Then, Jay and Kiefer stand in front of these three boys, and an intense fight breaks out between them, but Jay and Kiefer manage to beat them soundly. After the fight is over, Jay and Kiefer fall to the ground from exhaustion. Jay thanks Kiefer for saving her. At that moment, C and Yuri enter. Yuri approaches Jay and picks her up to take her to the clinic. But before that happens, Yuri informs Jay that the school will conduct an investigation because of the fight and asks her not to mention Kiefer's name during the investigation because Kiefer has caused many problems before, and if he gets involved in a new problem, he could be permanently expelled from school. Jay agrees and promises him she will do as he says. The next day, it's raining heavily, and because of that, the school lets all the students leave before their scheduled time. Jay calls Iris to take her home, but when she leaves the school, she stands waiting for him in the rain, but he doesn't come. At that moment, Yuri sees her and gives her a ride in his car to take her home. When he notices she is cold, he gives her his jacket to wear and warm herself up. Then, Jay is surprised when Yuri takes her to his house, telling her that the road to her house is flooded with water and he won't be able to get her there. He offers for her to stay with him at his house until the weather improves. Jay is forced to agree. As soon as Jay enters Yuri's house, she is impressed because it's a very luxurious house. Yuri enters a room and tells her to change her clothes, which got wet from the rain. He informs her that she can wear anything from his clothes until the maid washes her clothes. Then he leaves her to give her some privacy. He returns to her after a while, and they sit and talk together. At that moment, Jay asks Yuri about his parents, and he tells her that his father and mother are in Japan, managing their business. He informs her that he lives in this whole house with his grandfather. Then, he takes her to have lunch. At that time, Yuri's grandfather is surprised because this is the first time Yuri has brought a female friend home. When the grandfather talks to Jay, he likes her because she is a nice and polite girl. The next day at school, Jay thanks Yuri and keeps joking with him until they reach the classroom. At that moment, Kiefer is surprised when he sees Yuri entering the classroom, joking and laughing with Jay. Yuri goes to him and tells him what happened the previous day. When he notices that Kiefer is annoyed, he reassures him, telling him that this won't change anything in their plan and that the plan they agreed on will proceed as they want. Afterwards, Kiefer and Jay are summoned to the principal's office. When they go there, they find the boys from Section D, who say that Jay and Kiefer beat them up for no reason. Jay tries to defend herself and Kiefer, but she notices that the principal doesn't believe her because of the many problems Kiefer has caused before. She is surprised when Kiefer suddenly admits responsibility for what happened. She remembers Yuri's words when he said Kiefer could be expelled from school. She stands before the principal and tells her that she was the one at fault and the cause of everything that happened. But the principal understands that she is defending Kiefer and informs her that she could be expelled from school for her words. Jay is shocked and scared, but she still insists on her opinion and clears Kiefer in front of the principal. The principal informs her that she will summon her guardian. When they leave the office, Kiefer thanks Jay for what she did. After a while, Angelo arrives and takes Jay to talk to her alone. He keeps yelling at her for what she did and reminds her that she promised them she wouldn't cause trouble with anyone. Jay apologizes and promises him she won't cause trouble again. At night, Kiefer is at Yuri's house, and all their male classmates are there. Kiefer talks to them and tells them about his plan for Jay until she leaves the class. But it appears that Yuri doesn't like what Kiefer is going to do, but he stays quiet and doesn't speak. The next day, Jay is at school and suddenly hears a voice coming from behind a trash can. When she approaches the can, she is surprised to find Mika hiding behind it. Mika is scared and terrified because Iris had the Section D boys chase and beat her up. This is because he believes she is the one who said bad things about Ella. That's why she is running away and hiding from them. Jay sympathizes with her and asks her if any of her classmates helped her. Mika tells her that the only one who can do that is Ella, but unfortunately, Ella is absent and didn't come today. Jay takes her to the bathroom, where she washes her face and hands, and then takes her to Section E to protect her from the boys who are chasing her. But when Kiefer sees Mika, he gets annoyed by her presence and wants to kick her out of the classroom. But Jay yells and tells him that Mika needs help and asks him to help her, just as he helped her before. Kiefer seizes the opportunity to start his plan to make Jay fall in love with him and tells her with clear romanticism that he is ready to do anything for her sake. It is noticeable that Yuri is watching what is happening and jealousy is visible on his features. As for Jay, she gets flustered and doesn't know how to respond to Kiefer. At the end of the day, Jay walks with Mika to defend her if the boys attack her on her way home. At that moment, Jay asks Mika about her story with Alex. Mika sits with her to the side to tell her. At this moment, Jay sees Alex with C and David coming behind them, so she signals for them not to get closer and to stay where they are. Then, Mika tells Jay that she and Alex were in love a long time ago, until one day Ella came to her and told her she saw Alex standing with another girl. At that time, Mika was shocked and didn't believe Ella's words until one day she saw Alex herself getting close to another girl in the restaurant. Since then, she cut off her relationship with him. But Mika tells Jay that since that time, Alex has been trying to apologize to her for what he did to get their relationship back, but she refused. Mika asks her if Alex deserves a second chance from her. Jay looks at Alex and sees him standing with regret visible on his features and tells Mika to think carefully about the matter before making her decision. Then she takes her to walk her home. When Jay gets home, she talks to Iris and informs him that what he did to Mika was wrong, and she assures him that Mika is not the one who insulted Ella. As they are talking, Ella enters and gets very upset when she finds out what Iris did to Mika. Iris runs after her to make it up to her. The next day, Ella goes to Jay and thanks her for what she did for her friend Mika and tells her that she spoke with Iris and he promised her he wouldn't bother Mika anymore. But Ella asks Jay to keep Alex away from Mika because she is afraid that Alex will break Mika's heart again. But Jay refuses and tells her that she can't do that because Alex and Mika are the ones who have the right to decide the fate of their relationship. After a while, Jay is surprised when a student from Section E presents flowers to Mika in front of her classmates and asks her to be in a relationship with him, telling her that he has loved her for a long time but didn't know how to express it to her. Jay talks to Mika and asks her to think carefully before she responds, but Ella responds to Jay and asks her to be quiet and not to interfere. Here, Alex approaches Mika and tells her in front of everyone that he regrets what he did to her and asks her to give him a chance to talk together alone. At the same time, Kiefer and Yuri are focused on Jay because she is very moved by the romantic situation she is seeing in front of her. At this moment, Mika responds to Alex and tells him she agrees to give him a second chance. At that, all the students of Section E rejoice. During Alex and Mika's meeting, Jay and Kiefer are watching them until they see Alex screaming with joy because Mika promised him she would think about getting back together with him. Kiefer takes this opportunity and tells Jay that he wishes he could be with her in a romantic moment like this one. Jay gets flustered, doesn't know how to answer him, leaves him, and walks away. Afterwards, she goes to the bathroom and finds girls have written a lot of things on the door. At that moment, she gets a clever idea and executes it. Afterwards, she goes to C and David and tells them that she has placed her phone in the girls' bathroom and shows them a video in which Freya appears insulting Ella. She tells them that with this, she has strong evidence against Freya. When Jay returns home, she shows the video to Iris and asks him to punish Freya for what she did, but she is surprised when Iris refuses, telling her he knows she wants to use him to get revenge on Freya, but he won't do it, and he leaves her. She is very annoyed because her plan failed. The next day, Jay is going to school on her bicycle when a boy in a car stops her and asks for a specific location. Jay describes the place to him. The boy thanks her and leaves, but at that moment, Yuri comes and asks her about that boy. She tells him that he was lost and didn't know the way. Afterwards, they go to school. There, Mika meets Jay and thanks her for helping her make the right decision and gives her a letter to give to Alex. Jay takes it from her and quickly goes to give it to Alex. Alex sits among all his classmates and opens the letter. All his classmates are nervous, waiting to know Mika's answer. Suddenly, Alex screams with joy and tells them that Mika agreed to get back with him. Out of his immense joy, he hugs Jay and thanks her for being the reason for what happened. Jay tells him not to waste time and to go to Mika quickly. At this moment, Kiefer and Yuri are happy about what is happening around them. Then, it's time for physical education class, and the students from Section A are in the gym, along with the students from Section E. While they are training, Jay is the fastest of her classmates and outruns them all, but Kiefer trips her to the ground so he can win. So, Jay trips him too, just as he tripped her. Here, all the students are shocked because they know that Kiefer is quick to anger and might hurt Jay. But the opposite happens. Kiefer jokes with Jay and runs after her to catch her and punish her for what she did. Jay runs from him very fast, but he manages to catch her, and as she resists, he accidentally kisses her. Here, all the students stand shocked by what happened. Iris is forced to intervene under the pretext of protecting Jay from Kiefer, but Kiefer stops him, telling him he's just joking with her and that she's fine with it. But Iris grabs Jay's hand and pulls her to get her away from Kiefer. So Kiefer also grabs Jay's hand and pulls her to get her away from Iris. They both keep pulling Jay until Kiefer pulls her forcefully, gets close to her, and kisses her in front of everyone. Afterwards, we find Kiefer sitting in the classroom among his classmates, putting ice on his eye, and we learn then that Jay hit him after he kissed her. The next day, Jay goes to school and sees a student standing with his female classmate, and they are getting close. She remembers what Kiefer did to her the day before, and it appears she can't grasp the idea that Kiefer might love her. She snaps out of it and keeps hitting her head to get these thoughts out of her mind. At that moment, C comes to her and asks if she's okay. She tells him she's fine, but while talking to him, she feels a bit sick, leaves him, and goes to the bathroom to wash her face. At that moment, Rocky enters, notices she has a fever, and asks her if she went to the clinic or took medicine. Jay tells her she doesn't need medicine and will get better, and also informs her that she can't go to the clinic because she has an exam that day. Rocky tells her that she has wanted to talk to her for a while, especially after her fight with Freya. Jay admits that she is still upset about what happened. Rocky tells her that Freya will not leave her alone and will try to get revenge on her in every way possible. This is because Freya did the same to her a long time ago, to the point that she caused many problems for Sai, and because of her, he was transferred to Section E. She also informs her that Iris knew Freya was at fault but couldn't punish her because he is in a secret relationship with her behind Ella's back. Jay is surprised by her words and can't comprehend it, but Rocky tells her that she saw them with her own eyes when they were getting close at a classmate's party. Not only that, but Freya always threatens Iris that she will reveal his relationship with her to his girlfriend, Ella. This way, Freya does whatever she wants in the school freely, and no one can hold her accountable. Here, Jay asks Rocky to tell her what happened with C. Rocky confesses that she and C were in love, and when Freya found out, she became jealous of Rocky because she actually loves C. That's why she kept fighting with Rocky from time to time and causing problems for her. When C intervened and defended Rocky, Freya framed him for theft, made him look like a thief in front of everyone, and ruined his reputation. This is the reason the school administration transferred him to Section E. Afterwards, Jay returns to her classroom, upset by what she has learned, and it appears her sickness is getting worse. She sits at the desk next to Yuri and Kiefer and can't lift her head from exhaustion. Then the teacher comes and distributes the exam papers, but Jay can no longer resist and falls asleep from extreme fatigue. After a while, we find Jay still asleep with her classmates around her, waking her up. As soon as she wakes up, she gets very stressed because she slept and didn't answer any question on the exam, and she is very scared of failing because she will look bad in front of her family. The next day, Jay is standing in front of the board where the exam results are posted. At that moment, Jay is shocked when she finds she got a high score on the exam and can't believe it. She thinks she is still sick and is hallucinating. When she looks at Kiefer, she finds him looking at her and smiling. She understands that he found her sick and answered the exam for her. Jay is even more surprised and looks back at the results, only to be shocked to find that Kiefer and Yuri got very high scores. She doesn't understand why such high-achieving students would remain in Section E. The next day, Jay enters the classroom and finds Sai sitting alone, telling her he is hungry and wants food. He takes flour and eggs from a cupboard and asks Jay to make him pancakes. Jay tells him she needs kitchen tools. He tells her that there are tools in a cupboard in the classroom. Jay takes them out and starts making the pancakes. At that moment, all her classmates gather around, very happy with what she is doing. At that time, Yuri and Kiefer arrive and are surprised to see Jay making pancakes. Kiefer tells her that whoever becomes her boyfriend will be very lucky and that he wishes he were her boyfriend. Jay is flattered by his words and is so happy that she forgets the pancake on the stove and it burns. She yells at Kiefer, telling him he distracted her, but then Kiefer leaves the classroom and Yuri goes to help her with what she's doing. During the break, we find C sitting alone with a woman's handbag on his lap. When Jay sees him, she asks him about the owner of the bag, He tells her the owner's name is Milda and that she left the bag with him until she went to the bathroom and came back. But they are shocked when Milda comes and yells at Sai for holding her bag. Then, Milda goes to get a male classmate, points at C and accuses him of stealing money from her bag. C denies that this happened, but the boy doesn't believe him and wants to fight with him. Jay defends C, pushes the boy away from him, and tells Milda that she was the one who gave her bag to C to hold for her. But Milda denies it and tells her that C is lying. At that moment, all the students gather around them and C keeps defending himself in front of everyone, but no one believes him, especially the students from Section A, because C has a prior history of theft. When Freya speaks, Jay cuts her off and tells her she's the last person who should talk about this, telling her she knows that she has framed C for theft many times. Here, a student from Section A intervenes and asks Milda about the amount of money that was stolen from her. As soon as she tells him, he takes money out of his pocket and gives it to her. Then he stands in front of C, humiliates him in front of everyone, and tells him he doesn't need to steal, especially since his parents are rich. Here, Jay loses her temper because she doesn't like the injustice Sai is facing, and she wants to fight with the Section A students because she knows they framed Sai. But Yuri picks her up and takes her back to the classroom. There, he asks her to check with C first before she causes any trouble. Jay stands in front of C and asks him if he really stole the money. Sai cries and tells her he didn't do it and that he is innocent and was set up. At that moment, Jay and all his classmates believe him and sympathize with him. Afterwards, we find Iris with Ella at home. Iris talks to her and tells her he knows she is the one who framed Sai for theft. He asks her why she did it. Ella tells him she is annoyed with Jay and wanted to make her sad for her friend, Sai. It appears that Ella hasn't forgotten that Jay influenced her friend Mika and made her get back with her boyfriend Alex against Ella's will. Not only that, but since then, Mika has changed towards Ella and no longer gets close to her like before. Also, Ella doesn't like that all the boys in Section E love Jay and treat her well, especially since she was friends with those boys when she was in Section E a long time ago. Iris comforts her, asks her to forget everyone and stay with him, and promises to compensate her for anyone. The next day, we find Jay talking to Kiefer, telling him she wants money from him because she wants to respond to the nasty situation C was put in front of his classmates. Although Kiefer warns her, she insists, so he is forced to give her the money she asked for. Afterwards, Jay goes to the boy who paid the money for C, throws the money he paid in his face, and tells him that C is not a thief, confessing in front of everyone that she is the one who stole the money from Milda's bag. Iris talks to her and tells her he understands she is defending C, but he never imagined she would take the blame for the theft and frame herself. As for Freya, she takes advantage of the situation and records Jay while she is talking and confessing that Sai is not a thief and that she is the one who stole the money. But when Jay returns to the classroom, she finds her classmates are upset and show her the video that Freya posted online, in which Jay appears, calling herself a thief. Here, C gets upset because Jay got herself into trouble because of him, but Jay tells him she's not upset and that the important thing is for the students to change their opinion of him. C approaches her, thanks her, and hugs her. At that moment, Yuri, Kiefer, and the rest of their classmates are happy with Jay's action. Because of this, Kiefer goes to a hacker classmate of his named Eddie and has him delete the video from all social media platforms. The next day, Angelo yells at Jay because he saw the video. Jay is surprised to find that Angelo has Kiefer's number and calls him to ask about what happened. He tells him that she did it to save her classmate's reputation. He informs him that he has already deleted the video from the internet. Angelo calms down and warns Jay not to repeat what happened. At that moment, the grandmother arrives with Jay's aunt, and it appears that she doesn't like Jay. She tells the grandmother about the video that spread online, but the grandmother doesn't believe it. At that moment, Jay gets upset and tells them she is going out for a walk. She goes to a restaurant where the girls from Section A are present. Of course, as soon as they see her, they inform the waiter that she is a thief and that they are annoyed by her presence. The waiter goes to Jay and asks her to leave the place. But at this moment, Yuri enters the restaurant and sees what is happening. He goes to the waiter and tells him that he will pay for the entire restaurant's profits for that day, and he asks him to kick out the girls who spoke badly about Jay. At this moment, Jay is surprised by what is happening, especially when she learns that this restaurant is part of the Yuri family's properties. Because of this, the waiter is afraid of him, does as he says, and kicks out the girls as Yuri told him. Afterwards, Yuri sits with Jay and invites her to lunch. Jay thanks him for what he did and sits eating with him, happy about what happened. But suddenly, Kiefer arrives in his car and gets annoyed when he sees Jay sitting with Yuri, joking together. And the first part of the series ends. If you want us to make a second part of this series, please tell us in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see the second part.